think about it. I'm looking for a 4. We're almost there.
You're super close.
It's Triple Crown here, Saturday, July 6, 2024, day 2 of the Nashville show, part 2 of the vlog. I imagine that day 2 will have to be split up a bit because a lot of stuff happened. There will be a pretty nice card that I pick up that you'll see in the next part. But I'm starting off Saturday morning bright and early at 7 a.m. That's when the show opened to dealers. The show would go until 6 p.m., meaning it was going to be a marathon. And I'm doing a lot of dealer-to-dealer talk here early on. A lot of dealers just surveying the room, seeing what everybody did the day before. This particular gentleman is looking at my Al Kaline rookie. He's looking for a 4. I have a 3.5, but this is cliche to say. My 3.5 is a pretty darn nice 3.5. He wants it for his registry. He's only a few cards away from his Al Kaline run. Kind of talking with him here about what he's looking for out of the card, where he kind of wants to be on it. See if we can come to some sort of agreement here, but I'll let you listen in and see how it goes down.
What's your lowest?
What do you think?
I'm seeing a lot of, like, it seems like the 4s are doing that, but like card ladder value is like 4 something. Sold price is $570, but that's like a 4. I'm gonna look around. I'm very, very, very interested.
Yeah.
If I don't see anything in the 4, anything that looks as good as this, I'll probably give you an offer. I don't want to, like, you know, I don't know what you have in it, and so so I want to.
I'll tell you what I have in it. I have 450 in it.
450.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, I get what you're saying, because sometimes you get like 4s and 5s. They're great cards, but they're not centered, or they're not,
Right.
So you get what you pay for.
Do you do the registry at all, or do you just want a Kaline rookie?
What's that?
No,
I'm 4 cards away from the set.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones you need. All right.
Yeah. It's not like I'm not trying to flip it here or anything like that.
No, I only asked that because, like, if you weren't like doing the registry, then the grade, like, I would say, like, well, it wouldn't matter too much. But if you're trying to get like a better GPA on your set or whatever, then I could totally understand that.
Because like right now, I'm trying to do the 52s, 56s, 54s. Like, I'm trying to get graded, but like decent. Because like if I have to, like, I'm doing it for investment purposes. If I have to sell the sets, I want people to eye appeal, be like, oh, it's good center. Oh, this is good. I don't want a bunch of like, oh, well, this is bad. This is bad. I want them, like, generally kind of all together. So, I'm like literally really interested. Let me look. But
see if you can find one that's
if I don't see anything else, because like I said, I don't know if I'll because some of them will be off to the center, off the. Right. I really like this card. If we can agree on a price or something like that, I appreciate it.
Where are you set up at?
I'm actually set up over there.
I let that clip run a little longer than I normally do, but a couple of things I want to point out. I feel like both sides really articulate here what they're looking to get out of it. I didn't give him my quote-unquote best price, but I did tell him what I'm into it at, just to kind of set that expectation of this is around the range where I'm going to want to be at on it. And conversely, I kind of know why he wants it now. He's looking to add it to his set registry. And digging a little bit deeper, I can tell that, yes, the grade is important, but it's not the most important thing. If he needs to sacrifice a full or even a half grade to get a really nice example of a card that's not quote-unquote overgraded, he will do that. And therefore, that gives me a little bit more power in my mind to sell him on this Kaline. I feel like it's a good match for what he's looking for. I never want to sell a card to someone for the sake of selling a card, especially if I think that they're going to be unhappy with it. The last thing I want is for someone to regret a purchase that they made from me. I think this is a good match. I'm going to go over to his table later and see if we can work something out.
Can I take a look at the Jefferson?
Yeah.
I talked about this quite a bit in the part 1 of the vlog, but I had several cards that were asked about repeatedly on day 1. Those being the Bryce Young auto, the Joe Burrow Color Blast, as well as the Justin Jefferson Midnight RPA. You will see the latter two discussed in a deal here with offers around the same price, maybe a little bit lower than the average offer that I was receiving on day 1. But that only reinforced kind of what I was thinking the day before, is that if there is that much interest and the offers keep getting a little stronger each time, that gives me a lot of confidence that I'm eventually going to get to my number on them. Now with the Jefferson Midnight RPA, it's a little more tricky because that is Justin's card. It was on consignment with me, and because of that I have to try to get his number on it. We kind of had a debrief the night before talking about how the show went on Friday, what we may need to adjust prices on. That was one of the cards where I said, hey, if we can knock it down just a little bit more, I think that we can move it. He agreed to that. That's what I'm going to try to do here. This guy seems to be pretty interested in it. Hopefully we'll get it moved here, but if not, I still have plenty of time to try to move it later on.
How long have you had it?
Well, I don't have it on that sheet. Probably since... It wasn't too long after it sold. I think it sold back in April, so I probably got it end of April, start of May or something like that, so not too long.
I do say I here several times. That's just kind of a force of habit where I talk about my own cards. Sometimes when I have cards on consignment, it feels like they're my cards when really they're not. So really when I say I here, I mean Justin, but you get what I mean. Figured I'd clarify that though.
Oh, that used to be mine.
Was yours one of 75?
Yeah.
Yep.
I sold it in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Last time I was in Dallas. Pop one, I believe. It's a sexy card.
Yeah.
And honestly,
especially being the bookend.
Oh, to be honest, and you might even be underpriced on it. I think.
Wow. If you could tell that to everybody else who's been looking at it, that'd be great.
Who'd you get it from? I mean, I do like 1,000 on that, and I'd come up to 1,100 on that. Cash.
That'd be too far apart, unfortunately.
'Cause, these do like 12.
They wouldn't be able to get there.
No deal for now on the Jefferson Midnight RPA, but we're going to move on to the next one. This is a attempted a partial cash, partial trade for a couple of my Amon-Ra St. Brown cracked ices, as well as a few of the Justin Jefferson autos. The receiver stuff seemed to be incredibly hot, in addition to Joe Burrow. One thing that I was told later on in the show on day 2 is that I was one of the few dealers there who had nice Joe Burrow stuff. A lot of people were looking for him, which is probably why I got so many hits on things like the Color Blast or perhaps even that Allen Ginter auto, which back home never seems to draw any interest compared to some of the other cards that I have out in the case. Kind of interesting. Sometimes you take cards to different markets and people are very fascinated by them. You bring them back home and nobody says a word.
The only thing that you have right now. You're looking to move. I don't do much basketball, so mostly just... Oh, that's sweet. That is really cool. How much is something like this?
What do you think? I'll be honest with you. What do you think, though? It's not as expensive as you're thinking.
You know, Wright's pretty popular. I would guess it's like 600-ish.
Yeah, you're yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say 7, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Any other baseball or football that you have?
I have football. I have this, but I'd only sell it.
Understandable.
I like that Pete Alonso, David Wright dual patch card for multiple reasons. Number one, the patch is absolutely awesome there with part of the Mets kind of background city logo. It's on-card autos from a high-end product being Definitive Collection. It's a one-of-one. Really, it would be a perfect card for a serious Mets collector in their collection. It also would serve a purpose as a nice showcase card. I've kind of talked about this before. What do I mean by that? It'll be an attention grabber in my showcase. Perhaps someone is walking by really quickly. That card, with how vibrant it is going to pop out. Maybe it draws someone in who might otherwise walk past the table, starts a conversation, and maybe a deal gets done from there. I usually like to have a couple of eye-catching cards like that in the showcase, even if it's something that isn't really high dollar. I've had cards like that are only $10, $20 cards before, but people think they're cool. It gets them talking, gets them to stop and look, and you never know what might happen from that point. Those are some of the reasons why I like that card and why I like things like that in general when they walk up to the table.
What
Where are you from?
Cincinnati area.
Cincinnati. Cool.
How about yourself?
Iowa.
I hear there's a nice card show out there. You ever been to that one?
Yeah, don't come.
Don't.
No, I'm sorry. I was just joking. But yeah, it's not under the radar anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the jig's up. All the big boys came last. So there's two, fall and spring. Fall one's a little rougher. I honestly would probably pass. You know, for you, the stuff you have, it would be better in the springtime. That one's just always better.
I apologize in advance if this clip kind of adds more attention to the hidden gem that is apparently this Iowa card show. I've heard some good things about it, some rumblings from some fellow dealers who I set up with regularly. But it's kind of cool to meet people from different areas. That tends to happen more at these regional shows. I got asked a lot, where are you from at this Nashville show? A lot more than I would say at something like Xenia or Westchester back home, because really everybody is kind of from the same area. Most people are from the tri-state area at those shows, whereas here you got more of a melting pot of different people from different areas who come in to congregate at this show. It's really cool. You get to meet new people and maybe even hear about new shows like I am here. I've only heard good things about the Iowa show, but definitely after this conversation, it piques my interest a lot more. I also want to point out that you can see here, we're just talking about the hobby. There's a lot of kind of banter back and forth where we're talking about various things that is not going to make the final cut of this video, but every deal doesn't have to be so strict and transactional. It's fun sometimes to just kind of shoot the bull, talk about various things, talk about our experiences, what are the show scenes like back home for you, vice versa. It doesn't have to be, like I said, as transactional as sometimes it's made out to be. These are human beings. I'm a human being. The people who come up to my table are human beings. We can have a conversation and have some fun with it. It doesn't always have to be business talk.
What'd you say here? You said 28?
Yes, sir. Yep. You want me to pull out the T-Loss?
I was just curious on the color blast.
Ooh, look at you.
How'd you get to that number?
How did I get to that number? Yeah. I've been offered like 38 for it a couple times. I want to be at 4. So that's, yeah.
The Chase Flawless is 2022 or 20, what year is that?
So it's 21, but it was put into 22 Flawless because they don't do like the redemptions and the, so.
We're not far off. That feels actually like a good price.
I just lowered that one recently. I've had it for a little bit, yeah. People get weird about it just being like well, right.
It's on card though.
I like it, like the same people, the same people who get like, like, oh, well, it's not, licensed, and they see like a Topps Chrome Victor Wembanyama, and they get all excited, like, guys, you realize this is the same thing. Like, it's also not licensed.
It's coming back. I just 25.
25?
Yeah.
I think 27 would have to be my best.
I appreciate you letting me take a look, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much.
Might have been a little bit difficult to follow there, but I had 3 separate people asking about cards all at once while trying to navigate this deal with those Amon-Ra's as well as the Justin Jeffersons for the cash and the Pete Alonso, David Wright dual auto. I kind of did it that way to show you that sometimes that's how it feels, is kind of juggling all those deals at once and kind of keeping track of the numbers that people are throwing at you here. I am making this trade pretty much on Justin's behalf. Will I get a commission off of it? Yes. Obviously, I want to get the highest commission I possibly can, meaning I want to sell the cards for as most as I possibly can, but I also want him to be happy with what he's getting. Now, Justin doesn't really do baseball, meaning that if I get something that is baseball related, I better make dang well sure that I can move that card and move it for the number that I tell him. I am getting a little bit of cold feet on that Alonso Wright auto. I know he has some more stuff in his case that he hasn't shown me yet. I'm hoping that there's some football stuff in there that can make me a little bit more comfortable. If that means I have to concede a little bit more cash to get something I'm more comfortable with, I will gladly do that. That's going to be my aim here if he's not willing to come up to my cash number that I want for this trade.
Meet me in the middle, 26.
I hate to do it, but I gotta be at 27. I really wanted to be at 28.
You
but
throw something in for me then?
What are you thinking?
I wouldn't even look anything up. I just don't want to be there. Show you in terms of trade.
What do you have this at?
So, I mean, I'd be more flexible. The 1 to 49 sold for 1,500 in May. So roughly, I think it's like 2,800.
I'll take a
To
look
10.
because I like that a lot.
Yeah. But I'd only sell that though. I don't want to.
You don't wanna trade it for
I
those?
don't.
Yeah.
No.
I'll look at your basketball. Just I might find something in there that I like a little bit more than this, even though I love that.
That's all I brought for trade. So the rest of the stuff I've just bought today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can pull out some basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought that.
Are you interested in moving any stuff that you bought today?
Sure. Who do you look? Anyone in particular? Like that stuff.
I do like these two a lot for sure.
Okay.
Those Justin Jefferson autos are perfect for what I'm looking for. They are PSA 10s, meaning I am going to have to pay the 10 tax on them. But they're from Absolute. They're sticker autos. They are 4-figure autos at this point in time. Because of that, they're not going to be very expensive. They're going to be a couple $100 each, which is a much more realistic price point for me to move. Sometimes when you get cards that are quote-unquote comic cards, it takes more of a niche buyer to get them. These are cards that I have confidence I could either move here or even taking them back home to a smaller, more local show. I feel more confident in moving them. It's just easier to find people who are willing to spend $300 on one card than it is to find someone who is willing to drop $1,000 or more on one card. Therefore, I'm going to focus on these two cards with how popular Justin Jefferson has been at this show already over that baseball auto, because I feel like I'm going to be able to get more value out of those, and I'm going to be able to move them quicker than I would that dual 1-on-1 auto.
That's right. So
Yeah.
I figured I probably got it for like $200.
He's got cracked on his brother. He has
This one's probably more like
the gold mine.
for what I got it for, like 185. So
Okay, cool. That should make this work then.
Let's just move that to the.
but in terms of trade, then obviously I didn't take that shit off. So like, I'll shoot you something. So
Move this out, put these in, and make it 28.
you don't want it then?
So I would want to have either these two or this one, and I'd much rather have these
Okay,
two right
that's
now.
cool.
Yeah.
I do 27. I go back to your number. You need to change those stickers on those though.
Yeah,
those are
yeah,
right. So
those will be changed.
yeah. I just feel like just being fair with you in terms of what I got it for. So I feel like in terms of the trade, I'm still giving you the cross. I'm still giving you like
Yeah.
meat on the bone for your markup.
There definitely will be markup
Yeah.
on those too. That's
Right.
what
So that's just where I'm not trying to beat you up, but
no,
that's where
absolutely.
I'm just coming from. It's $100 lower.
The only thing I'm thinking of is where I'm putting these at. That's my only hold up at this point is just to figure out if.
It goes to 3 all day. Probably keep that one right there, or go to 275. Or if you will,
I mean,
it's
this one's lower
it's
numbers,
lower
I
numbered,
think,
but
yeah.
it's probably a goofy one, right? So you can go to 3 all day on this with that raw comp.
Yeah.
Which I'm cool.
I'll grab a picture from my records
Yeah.
real quick.
There we go. It ends up working out. Pretty much I get the amount of cash that I had offered previously with the Pete Alonso. Instead of that card, I'm getting the 2 Jeffersons. I feel more confident in getting the number that I want to out of those 2 Jeffersons versus the Alonso, and also getting to that number faster than I would the dual 1-of-1 auto. I'm kind of glad that he didn't take that offer initially, because I felt like this was a deal that I was much, much happier with. It also probably saved him a little bit of money too, because I know what he was into those Jeffersons for, and I'd be willing to venture it was probably less than that dual 1-of-1. So he gets a nice stack of cards. I get a couple of Jeffersons and a lot of cash to take back. Perfect deal for both sides. He was great to work with. This gentleman and I had a lot of good back and forth, and definitely one of the highlights at this point in the show. I'm going to wrap up part 2 just how I started. As promised, I came over to look at this guy's table who asked about the Al Kaline rookie to see what he had. Perhaps I could find some things to work out a partial cash, partial trade, or maybe I'm going to be the one adding cash here. Let's see what he's got and see if I can work it out for both sides.
Okay. $450 cash with the gunner for this.
450 just seems. I know that's what you have in it. Let me see comps again.
The gunner I'm talking about is that negative refractor from Topps Chrome there. It's his rookie year. Basically what this deal does is gets me back to even on the K line. At that point, the gunner card would be purely profit for me. He seems a little bit hesitant on it. Perhaps he wants to value the K line a little bit lower, or he doesn't want to have that much cash into it. Something tells me he's going to want to work more cards into the deal. That way he'll be into them for less, and therefore his price of acquisition for the K line will be less. For me, I'd rather get all my cash back on it, but if I need to add more cards and I think it's a workable deal, I'll definitely try to help him out as much as I can and get this deal done.
Is this the way it goes? Sometimes, like, I'm sure I could find 5 sales that are less than 4s and 6s that are less than 5s, etc. Just kind of depending on how they look and stuff. Like, it's a good example. I know it's like on the higher end for a 3.5, but it's.
What do you think? Is there anything else that you?
I like this, but I'm really far away.
What's that?
Under the Bosa.
Oh yeah, we can work on the Bosa. That's fine. You can take that out.
I was seeing these around like $20.
Yeah. Would you do this 375 cash?
The way that I'm looking at it at that point would be that I would need to get 75 cash to break even on the deal with the Bosa and the gunner. I definitely don't like my chances on that as much as I would breaking even at 450 flat on that Al Kaline rookie. That tells me I'm going to have to try to find something else to add. He's got a few Adrian Beltre autographs that are in there. They are PSA DNA 1010s. Because of that, he's going to want a little bit more probably than I want to pay on them. He also has some pretty nice Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts autos there, but I'm more so looking to be the one who gets the cash in the deal. I'd rather trade down than trade up into something, and therefore I spend the next few minutes kind of feeling him out on those cards, but I don't think that he is willing to budge as much as maybe I want to. Therefore, I'm going to go back to some of the lower end stuff and hope that we can cross the bridge at that point with maybe a $20 to $30 card that we can throw in.
Take that Kelsey. We take that Kelsey in that corner, 350.
I didn't really notice that Travis Kelce rookie down in the bottom right corner is actually a numbered card. That definitely jumps out to me. Numbered Kelce rookie is exactly what I'm looking for to possibly seal this one. I do want to ask him one more time about the Beltre autos because they're really nice looking on-card autographs from Finest. Just making sure that the number doesn't work for me before I proceed with some of the lower end cards. But I have a feeling that the package that we're going to come to an agreement on is going to be cash with the Kelsey, Gunner, and Nick Bosa, which I'm perfectly happy with. Those are 3 really nice, solid lower end cards, and I'm going to get mostly cash, which is always nice as well.
Kelsey, this, for this, and 350 cash. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about being able to get $100 out of the 3 cards that I am now into as a part of this trade, but I'm also thrilled that the K-line is going to a good home. It's by far and away one of my favorite parts of being a dealer is seeing people get cards that they're really excited about, perhaps towards their set or towards a player run. I saw this dealer showing off the K-line to a few of the other ones around him. Very glad that I could get this done and get it into good hands. It always warms my heart to see that, especially the collector in me reliving some moments there. That's going to wrap it up for part 2. I'll see you in part 3. Take care, stay safe, and as always, be kind.